This week on the podcast, 3 WWE Hall of Famers join me as we talk about the history of wrestling at the fair. Then, I wrestle at a fair. And my mom watched a PCO workout promo. Enjoy the show.
This is The Art of Wrestling with professional wrestler Colt Cabana.
All right, how you guys doing? Come on in, sit down, relax. You're about to listen to The Art of Wrestling, a professional wrestling podcast. It's a life podcast. It's a personal journal. It's an entryway to the minds and souls, the hearts and lives of the people involved in the world of professional wrestling. I am your host. My name is Colt Cabana. I'm a carny. I'm a carny worker. I'm a carny goer. I'm a carnival man. I'm a barker. I live that lifestyle for 3 days. And then after that, most importantly, I'm a professional wrestler. And I am coming to you live from my studio apartment in Chicago, Illinois. Before we go any further, this is a fan supported and listener supported podcast supported by people just like you. We give it to you free of charge every single Thursday. ColtCabana.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts from. A couple great ways that you can support, rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, just like Monday did. Email me your address and I'll send out that autographed Japanese DDT ticket to you. Also, use social media. Spread the word. Let everybody know about the new style, the documentary style we're doing over here. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, however you do it. Best way that you can support, though, ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com. T-shirts, buttons, pictures, posters, DVDs, digital downloads, a children's book, micro brawlers, keychains. It's all available. ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com. We did it. We did it. We went to the carnival. We wrestled just like the ones who came before us. We did it. The shows that I'm highlighting this week were from last Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. This weekend, I did head to Nashville, Tennessee, and Atlanta, Georgia to do commentary for Ring of Honor. But I knew, and I thought that the story was in the banana stand, or the fried Oreo stand, or the fried Snickers stand, or the fried Milky Way stand. Any kind of stand that was fried was found at the carnival, and that is where the wrestling took place. These bookings kind of came short notice. The whole thing kind of came short notice, but I got my plane ticket, and I headed to New York, LaGuardia, and then we made the hour-and-a-half trip to Middletown, New York. Pat Buck's the one who grabbed me, and we talked a little bit on the trip up. All right, I've just been picked up by promoter Pat Buck. Are you laughing because you know you're on a podcast now?
No, it just, I go, how are you going to introduce me? It's going to be promoter, it's going to be fellow wrestler, wrestler promoter, your chauffeur for the day.
I figured, because I want to know how this show has come along. I thought promoter would be the right one, but that's a good observation, I guess. Okay, so you grabbed me, friend, buddy, wrestler promoter. You grabbed me from the airport, and we're heading right there. I'm just very curious, before we even get there, what we're getting into.
I don't really know. I got a phone call from, I've been getting into, I wanted to take kind of the summer off from promoting because, in the New York area, and I'm sure other places, that wrestling, I feel like it dies down a little bit. I mean, people don't want to be indoors. In New York, New Jersey, there's very little AC in venues, and occasionally get these festival shows, but I got a phone call from Jeff, and he goes, hey, I got this opportunity to run 3 shows. You want to do it? And I go, yeah, of course. So,
because you can't say no like me, or because you saw something special in this?
Because I can't say no. And to sometimes anything where it'll be like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'll get this happened on Saturday where, I'm like, there's no wrestling today. Going to enjoy a nice day at the beach. Get a message. Hey, we desperately need a ring tonight. Can you make it to the most trafficy area of New Jersey and Hoboken within 3 hours? And I go, you should just say no. But in my brain, it's I can't say no. I did say yes, but then they said luckily that the original ring made it. So that's just one of those things, man. It just kind of always, I can't say no either.
So you don't know what you're getting into. What we do know is that it's a fair. Tell me any details that we know. 3 days at a fair, and apparently this is a big fair, right?
Yeah, from what the old website says, it's one of the biggest fairs in New York. They have real deal. I mean, I know some festivals have they have animal exhibits and race cars, and because I've done. In fact, 2 weeks ago, I did a fair show, the Connecticut Taco Fest, and it's disastrous. I mean, such little planning and preparation, and they liked the idea of lucha libre wrestling, which essentially was just a lot of my students in masks.
Oh no, don't ruin the dream.
Very good matches, but they're like, we need lucha libre wrestlers. I'm like, yeah, well, I know about 3 in the area, but we can put masks on. Okay, that'll do. But this is like a real deal fair, and you know, I think it's a great market. See, I didn't know this, like back in like territory. I just learned this year, that back in the territory days there was sold events. Like I didn't understand that. Did you know things like that? Because I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think we talked about this before when I first started wrestling. I mean, we would do a lot of fair shows, so I just assumed that that was the case. And then I always heard about, like, I know Cornette and Smoky Mountain always was trying to sell shows, and he was like trying to live off of the days of the territories. And so I always just assumed that they were trying to sell as many shows as possible, so they didn't have to come out of pocket. It's just free money almost.
Yeah, and it's a way better idea, I think, to like, if this happened at more events, I think wrestling would be in a greater place, because, you know, a lot of these festivals, fairs, whatever you want to call it, you know, they bring in vendors, and vendors cost a certain rate, whether it be a Ferris wheel or a food tent or whatever it is. Entertainment for the evening, bring in a pro wrestling show. You get your set budget, you bring in the talent, and essentially that's what happened with this, where, you know, they wanted a Hall of Famer every night, and they wanted...
So they got me.
They got you. Well, they wanted...
Jewish Wrestling Hall of Fame, not even.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. You came into the picture with, after the Hall of Fame, you know, I'm always thinking in minds of the budget, and people don't understand the cost of wrestling. So I kept the budget very low and just went with that. And you know, after me and Jeff kind of went over the card, we're like, it's missing. We need more star power. And you were top of the list, buddy. So, you know, we added a few more guys to it that can actually go in the ring and make this a better event with some more exposure, and hence the next 3 days of wrestling in the Orange County Fair that we're about to embark on.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm going to play some games. Beanbags at the pins. Do make note that I am the perfect. Hey, he's kind of a name, but boy, will he wrestle for any amount of money. So it all worked out perfectly. And we got to the fair. Nobody knew what to make of the whole ordeal. So you can hear my thoughts just a little bit before the whole 3 days began. Day one of the fair. And this fair is huge. We're about an hour before bell time. And there's like nobody even at the regular fair. And I asked the corn dog lady, I said, hey, does anyone show up to this thing? Because nobody was here when we got here at 2:30. But apparently it didn't open till 4. And she's like, nah, during the week it's kind of dead. But, you know, we heard wrestling's going to be on. And we're expecting a big turnout for wrestling. And I was like, I don't really think so. And I think I'm right so far. Now, I don't want you to think that this carnival is open every single day of the year, although you would think by the people that work here that that would be the case. But I looked on the website, and I think it's like a 3.5-week thing. And I'd imagine on the weekends it's happened, but wrestling's only happening Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And this is Tuesday, and I think it's going to be a real lighthouse. It sure was. It sure was. But it was fun. I got paid. I sold a couple of pictures. There were some knowledgeable fans that did make it out. But for the most part, I don't know, some families and just some people who wanted to take in the wrestling while at the fair. Every single night, a WWE Hall of Famer was booked. So I took it as my duty to talk to them about the fair, about wrestling at a fair, about just the history. And who was there on night one? Hacksaw Jim Duggan, of course.
Well, you know, fair shows, they've been around for a long time. I mean, it's before the WWF and E and the worldwide phenomenon it's become. You know, back in Mid-South and Georgia Championship Wrestling, you do fair shows. It's nice to have a little different fair show indoors. You know, I've done fair shows outdoors in the rodeo arena where it was raining. They had to bring us out in the tractor, so the ring was just covered in mud. But the fair shows, they're wrestling fans, fair people, you know, everybody. It's an unbelievable crossover of fans. And, you know, that's why I joke. I was just telling you, I just came back from New Zealand. It's unbelievable, the worldwide appeal of professional wrestling. You know, I always do a lot of charity with the NFL guys. I'm like, world champions? I'm like, where in the world have you boys been? I said, nobody knows Peyton Manning down there in Christchurch, but they'll go, ho!
So when you were in Mid-South in Georgia, like, what were those shows? Would the boys just be like is that the time to fuck off, or are those important to you guys?
Well, I think back then everything was kind of a party. It wasn't quite as, especially for the guys underneath. I was just breaking in. I was still Big Jim Duggan back then with short hair and clean shaven. So it was kind of a party, and of course, what I enjoy is kind of like when we were doing WCW at Disney. When you're not busy, you could walk around and enjoy the fair rides, enjoy the fair food. I like going seeing all the animals, so I have a good time at the fair. Some guys don't like it because it's hot. It's sticky, it's very high humidity, but hey, it's wrestling.
Yeah. And when you've dove into the independent wrestling world based off of WWF name, right? Have you done like a lot of these kind of shows, or are these only 4th of July kind of weekend type shows?
I probably do quite a few fair shows. I think like last year I did the whole Iowa County Fair loop. I did like 8 shows throughout Iowa at the county fairs. And no, I kind of like them. And like I said, at the back end of the career, it's a whole new source of income. I mean, to be able to come out here and do these shows, and people say, Hacksaw, well, you still wrestle? I said, well, I go to the ring. I don't know if you call it wrestling anymore, but that's what I tell the young guys. At 64, I have no physical attributes left, but I can still entertain a crowd. It's more than just taking bumps. You got to have a ring presence. You got to have tell a story. That's why I'm still out there. And so I said, one day I'll end up with a walker made out of 2x4s. Oh!
Perfect. And you're perfect for these fair shows. So it's a smart move by Jeff, I think.
Oh, yeah. The last couple of years I did stuff with Global Force, and of course, this is a USA crowd, and if you go to USA, you got to have Hacksaw there. So it's
every crowd's a USA crowd.
Well, except in Quebec.
Yeah. Where they still chant USA for you, I think you said last time, right?
Yeah. Well, it's amazing. Like, just was over in England in January. I know you go over there quite a bit. In the beginning, when I first go to the ring, I get a nice little round of USA. Kind of makes me feel welcome, and it's nice to have folks in another country cheer USA. I know JBL, back in the old days, I was over in Graz, Austria, and the whole place was chanting USA. He couldn't believe it, but that was long before all this political stuff.
When it was okay? Maybe not.
It's okay to chant USA in another part of the world, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm going to chant USA no matter where Hacksaw Jim Duggan is.
All right, so this next part, I contemplated just editing it out. I was just like, ugh, I don't want to get political or anything. But I don't know. He said it, and he has the right to his views, and I figured I'd be the bad person to edit out a stance that I don't believe in, just so I'm swaying it my way. I feel that's like the Fox News way of doing it. So I kept this part in because it looks like Jim really believed in it.
And tell those NFL players to get off their knees.
Is that real Jim Duggan thoughts?
I haven't. Only NFL game I watched last year was a Super Bowl. You go down to Fort Sam Houston and San Antonio, where those Wounded Warriors come in. And last time I was down there, I brought my wife down. They told us before we went in, they said, Hacksaw, some of these kids are going to be pretty messed up. First young guy walked, his face was burned off. Hacksaw, I'm a big fan. Another young guy pulled his leg off. Hacksaw, you signed my leg for me. Tell those kids why you're kneeling down.
Fair enough.
Hey, protest. Protest all you want.
Yeah.
But a little respect, I think.
All right. And I'm the opposite. I'm not looking to get into a fight about it. Hence why I played what he said. I'm under the belief that Colin Kaepernick took a knee to bring awareness to white cops shooting and killing black kids. And my thoughts say, yeah, people need to be aware of. This is a big deal in America. If that's how they want to protest, it's not because of the soldiers who have fought or the respect for our country. It's for these policemen murdering black people. Now, yes, I get it. I understand how people can think there's disrespect to the flag or to the people over there. That's not the intent. This is my belief. But if you went over and were in war and your friends died, of course, you would want respect for that flag. So let's not get in an argument. I love you. You love me. But these are my beliefs, and those are Hacksaw Jim Duggan's beliefs. Let's not separate the wrestling world. Let's all just love each other. How was that politically? How'd I do? Good? Speaking of politics, the mayor of Nashville was at the show the next day. It was his show. He only showed up one day. This thing came together so last minute. He was throwing out a baseball pitch the day before and heading to Scotland the next day. So he's only able to do one day. But I had a real fun chat with a good friend, Double J, Jeff Jarrett. We're here at day 2 at the festival, and finally, we could say this is kind of your setup, right? Like you found this show?
Did you call this a festival?
What did I say? Did I say a festival?
You said a festival. Colt, this is a fair, Orange County Fair.
Correct. I meant fair, and I've been prefacing this as a fair. This is a Global Force show, so this is your find?
It is. It was through a connection of a connection back, that goes back 15 years through Poughkeepsie. And one thing led to another, and they called me. This entire fair is sort of in a completely, ironically, in a reorganization deal. Just the entire fairgrounds, the acts, the fair buyers, the people who run the business side of the fair. And so they called me in the middle of June, and so a month later, here we are with 3 nights of wrestling. So it all came about pretty quickly, but I have done a lot of fairs. In my time.
Yeah, because so yesterday I talked to Jim Duggan, and he's obviously the best, like, as a person, right?
He is. Yeah. He is a pro's pro.
Right. And in saying that, I kind of, like, really wanted to, like, really know about fairs, and I was like, oh, he'd be a great person to talk to, but I felt he has the same answers and questions, like, that he's been doing for the past 25 years, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense. Yeah. I get it.
And when I talk to you on this, you're always very real, which I always appreciate. And so like you said, you've done fairs for years, I'd imagine. And I'd imagine watch your dad do fairs. So I kind of want to know, like the importance of fairs to wrestling and the difference between fairs.
You want some good fair talk. Well, you're a baseball man, right? You do follow baseball.
I did big in the 80s and 90s.
Okay, but there's major leagues. There's AAA, there's AA, there's single A, and there's rookie ball. Pretty good analogy for fairs, because you have the big, really, really big state fairs, and there's probably, 7 or 8 of them, Illinois State Fair, Texas State Fair, but there's big state fairs, and then there's regular state fairs, and then there's regional fairs, and then county fairs, and then you can just get down to the real nitty-gritty and have a 3-day Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which I'm talking to there's several fairs down in Mississippi that literally the fair people come in, they set up on a Wednesday night, they have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the fair's out the next week, and it just keeps rolling. So, but no, fairs, and in the 80s when Hulkamania really took off, we're talking to both audience here, but in the Hulkamania at the very peak, there was a lot, and that's when they were, if you remember, I'm older than you, but anyway, there was an A-town, a B-town, and a C-town. But all the shows that they were running back then, there was a lot of fair business being done. But the fair business...
So Vince was doing fair shows?
A lot. Wow. And just because of the blowing and going of 80s, there were substitutions, there were change of cards, there was a lot going on. And the fair business, not just because of the WWF, but wrestling in general on the local level, fair's got a bad name, and the fair business is very, very small community, and one thing led to another, and they really, for all intents and purposes, got away from fairs.
What's the bad name in terms of fairs? Is that advertising somebody and pulling somebody?
Exactly. Yeah. Change a card, not showing up, all that kind of stuff. That they just went a different direction, but. The early days of TNA, we got hooked in and we started cranking up the fair business, and I think that's where professional wrestling started. The Carney days,
right?
Yeah, so it's built in, and I think that you can buy a music act, and it's a one night. You can do wrestling 3 nights, 4 nights, 7 nights a week, and they used to do that years gone away.
Because so for our generation, and you tell me if this was the same in Nashville and Memphis or whatever back in the day, but to me it's like a perfect place for the young wrestlers to be able to wrestle, and there's no pressure on them because there's no like built-in audience, kind of the same way they do it in England with the holiday camps. And so I always think it's great that you can kind of just go in the ring. You don't have to really have anything much called. You just kind of... I'd imagine this is where we could learn how to work, our generation or the generation after, and I don't know if that's how it was looked at back in the days, I guess.
Well, it was profitable because it's pretty easy. You come in, set up the ring, It's most of the time back in the day it was as the price of admission to a fair. It wasn't a hard ticket. So, like you said, the people who came out to the fair got popcorn and peanuts and Cracker Jacks and got to watch a demolition derby one night, racing the next night, a country music act the next night, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it is not your. But in today's world, with the intelligence of the wrestling fan, knowing everything, I think it's what's old is new again. And yeah, you come out and it's not that high pressure glitz and gloss and TV, and even the small independent shows now, they're filming everything. It's really a true night of live entertainment wrestling.
And I want to tell you this: I did a fair, I think 2 or 3 years ago in Indiana, and I don't know your relationship with the man, but Superstar Bill Dundee was on the show. He drove to the show in a car that had his name spray painted on it and his website, which was the longest website I had ever seen, and it was just a thing of fucking beauty.
Yeah. You've got to put it over.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was, and I guarantee you, he put the www.
Oh yeah, he put the HTTP /
Superstar Bill Dundee,
like .weebly like upcoming events archives
/ Yeah, I know the car though. I've seen it.
Have you seen that car?
It took me aback, and I've seen a lot, especially in Tennessee wrestling. But no, it took me aback.
He seemed right at home in this world of fair wrestling, and he's probably in his 70s wrestling, late 60s.
Yes, yeah. He's in his 70s now. But that's the thing. We've done so many fairs and festivals, like. You can throw a festival for anything. And south of Nashville is something called Mule Day, and you'd go, what that? But there's tens of thousands of people that show up at Mule Day. So there are kind of festivals like that. But wrestling has always fit into these kind of events. They just do.
And you, with Global Force, you're gonna keep up that tradition, right?
Yes, there was 2 fair buyers here tonight talking about it, and they were asking about it, and I said, look, with this day and age, there's so many arena shows and WWE. I mean, they're everywhere. They've got so much talent. They got so many shows going on. This is an opportunity that you can have a 3-night event, 4-night, 7-night. One guy said, could you do it every night? And I said, here's where I think the really the best bang for your buck for everybody is you have a 4 o'clock hour show and a 7 o'clock. So you have 2 shows a day. Fans can come in. You don't have to sit there for a 3-hour show. You come out, watch an hour of wrestling, go in the midway, and come back, watch another hour, and the wrestling fan will stay engaged, and it's a good night of wrestling, and you don't have to see the same show, the same match over and over. So the 2 fair buyers here tonight are highly interested.
Yes. We'll get them 2 at a time, right?
Exactly, buddy.
Thanks, Double J, and congratulations on the Hall of Fame and everything.
Oh, have we not? No, we haven't. We've seen each other, but we hadn't been on your podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
I appreciate that. I'm going over to your neck of the woods soon. We just talked about it.
Israel?
Oh, God, no. Edinburgh, Scotland.
And that's a good plug for my Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
I'm giving you a layup here.
But I'm going to teach you something before you go over there. Edinburgh.
Edinburgh?
Edinburgh.
Okay.
Keep
Get it down.
Grado will teach you.
Is it Glasgow or Glasgow?
That one I'm not sure of.
Me neither. Never have been.
Grado would always say to me, glass cow? Glass cow? So I assume it's not glass cow, but Glasgow? Or maybe he would yell, is it Glasgow? I don't know, man. I know how Edinburgh is said, and it's Edinburgh. I will be there. I'll be there wrestling August 16th at the Corn Exchange for Ring of Honor, and I will be there all month. Come watch my comedy show with myself and Brendan Burns at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival and stay for the aura of Jeff Jarrett. That was day 2. Crowd was about the same. Hopefully Jeff sold some fair shows. And we moved on to day 3, where I chatted with the 3rd Hall of Famer, Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake, you're the guest on the 3rd day. And I just like
the last one, right?
This is the last one.
That's why you saved me for last. Best for last. Gotcha.
Sure. You're used to that.
Go with that.
Yeah.
The hell.
I mean, obviously, you've been wrestling for so long. I guess I'm really curious about just the way you take on the relationship of the county fair or the fair in general with professional wrestling.
Why not? If it's a good place for people who can get together and have a good time, why the hell not? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of parents out there that, normally they wouldn't go to a wrestling match, but everybody goes to the fair. I mean, how are you going to tell a kid, no, we can't go to the fair this year? You might as well skip Christmas, birthdays, whatever, So coming out to a fair, I think you get a lot of people that normally wouldn't come to a wrestling show. or have the opportunity to. Maybe they live too far away, but hey, the fair's in the county this year, and it's going to be in so-and-so. Let's all get there for it. I think it's a great time.
Is there a difference between like when you first kind of started, like the importance of fair in wrestling and how you see it now? Or
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, back in the day, we were put through the ringer, so to speak. You know, I got to give McMahon one thing. He raised it up to a level that it makes you proud to be out there doing what you were doing. You know, I mean.
But I mean, in terms of the fair.
The fair is fine. The fair is bigger, better, always, you know. I mean, they've even got bigger girls to help with the rides. They've got more tattoos now, more scars.
Were you doing fair shows like in your first couple of years at wrestling?
Oh God, no! Hell no! They wouldn't let me out of the fair. Are you kidding? They didn't even want me in the building. That's how bad I was.
I know wrestling's based out of the circus, right?
That's where it all started, man. Tough man contest, yeah.
Was your dad involved in any of that stuff? Would he talk about that?
No, he never talked to me about it. Of course, he never talked to me much anyway.
Yeah.
But there you go. That's part of life, man. And,
or what about the old timers? Would they talk about the circus or the fair or anything?
You know, I have heard of that in the past in locker room stories. You know, tough guy contest and stuff. And I remember back in the day when I first started, man. Everybody had cauliflower ears out to the edge of their shoulders. Thank God we stopped doing that stupid shit.
And got snakes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
As a guy who had a snake his whole career, do you feel akin to like the animals here and stuff?
Just the freak show part of it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming out to the fair.
No worries. You want a corn dog?
Do I ever? Wait, was that innuendo?
Yes.
Jake was supposed to come out at the end, sign some autographs, do some pictures in the ring. Of course, that was changed to intermission so he could get the fuck out of there, which he did. Kevin Matthews wrestled James Storm just like he did every single night. The main event of these three fair shows, the last night being a lumberjack match. And the show concluded, the fair tour concluded, and Kevin thought he deserved a treat. What are you eating?
Right now I'm eating grilled chicken, some sauteed spinach, and corn.
There's powdered sugar on the edges of your lips right now.
You never had powdered sugar corn?
This man comes back with 3 giant bags of fried Oreos.
We are at the Orange County Fair, so I mean I guess I could have got something a little bit more healthy, but dude, last show 3-day loop, you know, James Storm 3 nights in a row. I lost all 3 matches, feeling a little down about, you know, I'm still sad. And the only way, you know, how does it when a kid's feeling sad? What does he do? He eats junk food, right?
Well, I wouldn't feel bad about losing 3 in a row to James Storm. So I would feel bad. Last time you were documented as losing to Hot Dog Starks.
What I eat then? what I eat after that?
It's going down. What did you think of the fair? Yeah, I know you took a couple laps around. You met some ponies and some animals.
I have a mouthful of fried Oreos right now. What do we mean? Camels, right? Goats, emus. Is it emus or emus?
Could you see yourself living the fair lifestyle?
In Middletown, New York? No, I'm not a carny. Can you?
I think I could in my younger days.
I could totally see you. Like, hey, you, come on, throw this dart, pop this balloon. I could see you doing it.
I think I could have brought him in.
I think you'd make a good Dunk the Clown type of guy. Because they have to heckle, but their jokes are never funny. I think you would actually draw a crowd because I think you would actually be burning the people pretty bad.
We did get heckled by the clown, and he was sad. It was a sad clown.
When I passed him, nobody was there. He was laying down. He was laying across the board.
You're going in for another one, huh?
Yeah, I think I overstepped my boundaries. I mean, I had like 7 so far. I'm feeling a little fucking sick, to be honest. I'm going to have to give the rest of the students. You want a fried Oreo, Colt?
I don't eat that stuff.
Didn't you have one?
I had 2.
Yeah, okay, 2.
When I started this podcast and this journey, I called you a promoter. And we're done with these shows. And Pat, you did not wrestle on these shows.
No, so I'm not a wrestler, clearly. Am I still a promoter?
Yeah, you're a promoter. Do you not consider these a success?
No, I think they were. I think it's like, you know, we talked about this, or I've talked about with a lot of people, how wrestling at fairs is like kind of a new thing. And it's, you know, instead of booking musical acts, you get book a wrestling show, and it's more fun, I think, and affordable.
Wait, this whole show I did with all these, I got all the Hall of Famers on here, and we said it wasn't a new thing. It's been going on for years.
And that's what I thought too. Like I thought back in the territory stuff, but I think that I didn't know this existed as a promoter. I don't know. I'm kind of brain dead now.
It's a new thing for you, maybe.
No, but I think that maybe did it go away for a while, or has it been consistent throughout?
I think because you've been doing higher super indie type like promotion stuff, you forgot about these kind of things. And me too, like because I'm maybe more of a price tag or whatever, I'm doing less of these shows where it's kind of just bring all the local kids, like I did my first 2 or 3 years. And now that Jeff knows you, he found you to help do this show that he got probably for a nice price tag and a success for everyone, I think.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things. Vince Neil was there last night, and I don't know, I'm assuming he drew more people in the wrestling show, but it doesn't matter to the fair as long as people walk through the door. So when I say it's new, it's just kind of like an alternative to... I didn't hear about like sold events or festival events like my 5th year of promoting. Like, I didn't get that. Now I'm starting to get it now, and I think it's better for everybody. Because as a promoter, like, I don't think wrestlers fully understand, because promoters typically get a bad rap. And I don't think wrestlers fully understand just how, like, we do risk our ass every single time to put this on.
God knows you have, right?
Oh, God, yeah, all the time. Still do. But more so, like, if you go in there with a set, you know what you're working with, and everybody is taken care of, it's a better environment for all.
And why didn't you wrestle these last 3 shows?
Because I hate doing both, man. I love wrestling, and I love running a show or putting it all together, but to do both, I want to focus on making sure if I'm back there, I want to have a good match. Even if it's like a 6-8 minute match, I want to make sure that it's decent, hey, whatever. But if I'm in full gear and then someone's complaining that something's wrong at a vendor table, or part of the ring is messed up, or some sort of issue I have to deal with, someone from the fair is unhappy with this, and I got to walk out there in my ring gear and talk to someone, and then I can't focus on the match. So I've just learned to kind of pick and choose my spots. I don't want to be the promoter that, is champion and stuff. There are times where I'm going, like, no, I'm going to wrestle this. I'm going to do this. But certain times, if I don't have to, give it to my guys. I'm in the ring enough during the week.
And, of course, that's at your school, Create a Pro. CreateAProWrestling.com. Pat Buck, Kurt Hawkins. They'll train you in the New York area. Thanks for some fun fair shows, friend.
Oh, you're welcome.
And just like that, I had a 4:30 Uber to LaGuardia Airport to head to some commentary gigs for Ring of Honor, which were 2 very, very fun shows. And I think you could see me do a little bit of a speech for Flip Gordon for all of those Being the Elite fans, if you want to check that out. A lot of fans of Being the Elite, but I'll be honest, a lot of fans of Mama Cabana, and she watched a PCO video calling out Walter. She'll tell you all about it right after these plugs and
upcoming events.
All right, the best way that you can support ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com, Twitter and Instagram at Colt Cabana, Facebook /AOW Podcast and /Colt Cabana. Each week, I'll choose one person who reviews and rates 5 stars on iTunes and send them a signed show ticket from the Japanese promotion DDT. My storytelling podcast, Pro Wrestling Fringe, plus past archives of this show, old and new, are ad-free on StitcherPremium.com/Colt. Use the code COLT, get a free month. ColtWrestling@gmail.com is my very public email. Maybe you're a promoter who want to put me on your upcoming show or convention, or even be documented on this very show. YouTube channel, I put up some stuff there. ColtCabana.com is my website. That's where you can find my P.O. Box. Kelsey sent me this nice big gift package from New Zealand. Thank you so much, Kelsey. I appreciate that. Upcoming Friday, July 27th, Waterloo, Iowa, nwhof.org. Friday and Saturday, August 3rd and 4th, Linlithgow and Kirkcaldy, Scotland, w3lwrestling.com. Sunday, August 5th, Edinburgh, Scotland, shop.discoverywrestling.com. And August 3rd through the 26th, the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, every single night, 11 p.m., edfringe.com to reserve your tickets. But it is pay what you want. Myself and Brendan Burns, we're doing comedy and commentary to bad wrestling matches. When we get home, Thursday and Friday, August 30th and 31st, Chicago, Illinois, AAWrestling.com. Sunday, September 2nd, in Schaumburg, Illinois, I will be at the StarCast from 10:30 to noon doing a live Art of Wrestling, starcast.com. That Sunday night, Chicago Heights, Illinois, warriorwrestling.net. And September 8th and 9th, I'm heading back to the UK, Manchester, England, WrestlingMediaCon.com. Intro music by the Ukulele Teacher on YouTube. Outro music by Superfun Yeah Yeah Rocket Ship. Podcast cover art designed by Jimmy Lee and photo by James Musselwhite. Thanks to Pat Buck, Kevin Matthews, Jim Duggan, Jeff Jarrett, and Jake the Snake Roberts. Let's thank our sponsors, highspots.com, a VOD service, $5 Wrestling, Kevin Steen shows, hundreds and hundreds of shows, AMA knee pads, gear, masks, and even a wrestling ring. OneHourTees.com, they help run ProWrestlingTees.com, and they have a shop in Chicago. You should come to it. I'm all over the place. All right, hashtag AskCabanaMom. Here we go. Just tweet me at Colt Cabana. Use the hashtag AskCabanaMom. Ask her something that you want to know what she thinks about that has to do with professional wrestling. This week, at Fish for Rob asks, can you have hashtag AskCabanaMom watch one of PCO's training videos and provide her thoughts? Thanks. Well, she did. The one where he bends the bar around his neck for Joey Janela's spring break. He's about to wrestle Walter. My mom watched it, and here's what she had to say.
Hello, it's Mama Cabana from her studio apartment in Chicago, Illinois. Watching the video, this wrestler, PCO, which to me could be like pretty conniving orangutan, because that's what he looks like. He looks like he grew up in the jungle, if you ask me. You could hardly understand what he's saying. He's just growling and growling until I hear the word Walter. He does seem to be in pretty good shape. He's bending the chin bar, so I guess he's pretty strong, unless it was made of rubber. Maybe it's just a whole phony thing he's got going there. And the guy in the back, I assume that could be his trainer. But if I were him, I'd duck out the back door. I don't think I'd want to be in contact with him. He's pretty big and scary. And as far as Walter, I don't know what Walter even looks like. But if he's skinny and puny, he's got not much to look forward to, I'll say that. So it could be a big match, or it could be a total waste of time, depending on what Walter looks like. So that's Mama Cabana. It's about all I have to say about that orangutan, because that's what he reminds me of. And I'll see you next week. Thanks!
All right, maybe next week someone will show my mom a picture of Walter. Skinny and scrawny, he is not. All right, this has been The Art of Wrestling. For Colt Cabana, I'm Colt Cabana. Thanks.